The hip flexors are a common trouble spot for runners, and pain in that area, the hip flexor area, can be for a variety of reasons. It may be simple overuse, that they're too weak. It could be that there's a strain of the hip flexor. And it could be that you're running on a surface that is too loose or slippery. The hip flexor muscles are muscles at the front of your hip that help you lift your knee to your chest. You'll feel them activated if you lift your knee up. If you've got weak hip flexors, or you're new to running, or you haven't done a lot of hip flexor work, then it is probably just that they're a little undertrained. 3 great exercises to help fix weak hip flexors are dead bugs, flutter kicks, and crunches where your feet are not locked into anything, and we're going to go over those right now. For dead bugs, we're going to start by laying on our back. And we want to make sure we keep our low back in contact with the mat. So we're rolling our pelvis to get our low back in contact. We're going to lift our legs up, keep our hips and our knees at 90 degrees, keep that low back on the ground. And you're going to lower one leg to just above the ground, bring it back up. Lower one leg to just above the ground and bring it back up. Once you can do about 30 of these, you can add ankle weights to your ankles to make it significantly more challenging. We're going to go through 3 different types of flutter kicks here. So first, to do a proper flutter kick, you're going to lay on your back and you're going to keep your low back in contact with the mat. So we're going to roll our pelvis forward and keep that low back against the mat. No big arches, low back against the mat. We'll start with a very basic flutter kick. Legs straight out, up, down. This is the most basic. Next, we're going to go to split legs. So keep your feet relatively level. We can go to over-unders. And finally, we're going to go to frog legs. Frog legs are probably the most difficult flutter kick to do, and you can do them 2 different directions. First, we're going to bring our hips and our knees to a 90-degree angle. We're going to kick out like we were doing a breaststroke kick, bring our feet back together, and then bring our knees up with the feet together. So out, down, and together. Now we can also do these in reverse, and you're really going to feel this in your hip flexors. Out, apart, and up, and together. Out, apart, up, and together. Once you feel comfortable doing 20 to 30 of the basic flutter kicks, move into the side splits, the over-unders, and finally into the frog legs. We're going to go over how to do a proper oblique crunch. So first, we're just going to lay down flat on our back, like we're about to do a normal crunch. But then we're going to rotate about 45 degrees to one side. So I'm going to do my right side. I'm going to rotate 45 degrees. We need everything to rotate. So our shoulders, our hips, our feet, our knees, until we're kind of on the side of our butt cheek. And now you're going to do a crunch. So the key here is to not cheat and roll over and end up with pretty much a normal crunch, but instead to stay on the side and come up. You're going to feel this on the outside, really digging into your obliques. If it's too hard to do that, use your outer hand and your inner hand for stability. So you can put your right arm out, added stability down here, and help yourself come up. However, you may just be running on a surface that is too loose. If you're running in sand or in snow or ice, anything where the pushback on the run, when your foot contacts the ground and you try and propel yourself forward, if your foot slides a little bit, then you can be putting extra pressure on your hip flexors. So if your hip flexors are sore after a sandy or icy run, it may be a good idea to try and run on some asphalt or go onto the treadmill.